Welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Thermaltake Armor A60 Case. This mid-tower case is available in a black color and consists of plastic and steel. At the top they include one 200mm blue LED exhaust fan, but you can install an optional 120mm. You can also remove this 200mm fan and install another optional 120mm fan if required. There are three external 5¼ drive bays and one external 3.5" drive bay, and each drive bay cover doubles as a dust filter. There's two USB ports, but one is USB 2 and the other is USB 3. There's also an external serial ATA port, as well as a microphone jack and headphone jack. Here's the LEDs for the hard drive activity and power, the reset button, and power button. And note all the mesh on the front of this case, which provides excellent ventilation. The front panel can be very easily removed by pulling at the bottom. Just inside the front bezel is a removable dust filter. They include one 120mm blue intake fan, but you can add another optional 120mm fan, or you can add one optional 200mm fan. The left side panel has a small window, a place to install an optional 120mm fan, ventilation, and this side click easy swap drive dock for a 3.5" drive. The right side panel is plain, but it does have a nice design. At the back of the case, at the very top, is two grommeted holes, and one of them is used for the USB 3 cable to pass through. And note how they've routed this through the mouse and keyboard security lock. You can pass also the mouse and keyboard cords through here to secure them. A great option if you're at a LAN party, for example. They also include a 120mm exhaust fan, and here is where the motherboard's I/O shield plate gets installed. There are 7 ventilated expansion slots, extra ventilation, and at the bottom is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed. And there's 4 thumb screws, 2 on each side panel. Now the top 2 holes, which have grommets on them, can be used for cables, like for example that USB 3 cable, or you can use those holes of course to route water cooling systems tubes through. Well, there are 2 extra holes here at the bottom of the case. You can just punch these out and use the included grommets for the same purpose. Note that the left side panel can be secured using an optional lock. Since this is a mid-tower case, there's not a tremendous amount of room to work, and the motherboard tray is not removable. Note though that the interior of the case is all black, and they do include a hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate. There's a toolless design for all of the drive bays except for the external 3.5" drive bay. I'll install a 3.5" hard drive to give you some idea how easy it is to install. First, you'll need to remove the drive cage. To do so, just pinch and slide it out. By the way, note the rubber grommets for the 2.5" drive. Slide the 3.5" drive in like so. Make sure it's lined up properly. And once you have it lined up properly, just then slide it back into the drive bay. Now this is actually where the side click easy swap drive dock is. There are connections at the back for the serial ATA data and power, so when you slide the hard drive in, they make those contacts. And once you put the left side panel on, this will protrude through. So then you can very easily remove the drive or slide the drive back in. At the bottom is where the power supply gets installed. They have a couple of rests, and this one here can be repositioned. For shorter power supplies, you can have it this way, and for longer power supplies, just simply move it this way. Now, an optional 120mm fan can be installed at the bottom, but really only if you have a fairly short power supply, because if the power supply is long, of course, it's going to hit the fan. Note how the blue USB 3 cable is routed behind the motherboard tray. So there's plenty of room between the motherboard tray and the right side panel for cables. Note that this case fits video cards up to 305 millimeters in length and also CPU coolers that are 180 millimeters in height. At the bottom, they include 4 plastic feet and a removable power supply dust filter. Finally, have a listen to the stock cooling. If you're in the market for an affordable mid-sized tower case that has just about everything, including, for example, lots of drive bays, plenty of fans, and a lot more can be installed, even has a hot swappable, very easy to remove drive on the left side panel. A good plus to this case as well is being able to install a fan on the left side panel because you can blow a lot of air where it's really, really important. Now, something else about the case I like is the looks. It is really clean. Now, the case is not all aluminum and it doesn't have a removable motherboard tray, but considering the bang for the buck on this product, it's a kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.